Hey guys. Hey, what's up, guys? We're back for a pop-in video. Thank y'all for joining us back. Okay. We have some news to catch you guys up on today. News child. The news today is jumping. So yeah, we got to get y'all caught up on what's going on. So I hope you guys don't mind. Let's get into it. Let's get into it, honey. Everything said in the video is alleged and in my opinion and is used for fair use and entertainment, honey. Don't mind me. I am just sitting here in the flower garden. Nah. I'm just sitting here in this flower garden behind me. Okay. I be trying to switch up my background so y'all don't get bored. But let's get into our show because we got one. Everything said in the video is alleged and in my opinion and is used for fair use and entertainment. As you guys can see coming across my screen here. That's my disclaimer. Let's get into it, y'all. We're going to update for Chris Brown. Chris Brown is in some trouble, y'all. Okay. Y'all know he landed over there in Manchester, England, honey. And the people held him up because he had a little warrant. Y'all know when you got a warrant, child, you go somewhere and they run your name through, or you trying to fly somewhere, they're going to grab your ass up. And that's what they did. Chris went over there acting a fool, hit somebody in the head with a bottle, acting ghetto, and they snatched his ass up. Y'all know Chris is in the middle of a tour. So that kind of effed this tour up a little bit. So let's get into it, honey. All right, Chris Brown has reportedly been arrested in Manchester over London nightclub bottle attack on music producer. Now, it goes on to say, Chris Brown has been caught in legal trouble in a legal blow in the UK. It says that a judge has officially ruled that the R&B superstar will stay locked up following his recent arrest, and the next chapter of his case won't begin until June 13th. So Chris has to stay in jail until June 13th. Okay, he's not allowed to be out because of this warrant and because of this particular crime that was committed. Says that when he's expected to appear at London's Southwood Crown Court. So he has to go to court first before he can get out. There is no bond or bail. It was denied. Now, according to Reuters, it said that the decision was made during a court appearance this Friday, which is today. Chris ain't going anywhere until then. Like I said, June 13th. Now, as previously reported by The Sun, the 36-year-old, which is Chris Brown, the singer, was arrested at a Manchester hotel earlier this week. Says that officials booked him on suspicion of causing grievous bodily harm, a charge connected to a violent 2023 incident at a London nightclub. So as you guys can see, Chris is held up, child. Chris is held up and cannot get out. All right. Y'all see this? Chris Brown will remain in police custody following his UK arrest. Next court appearance except for June 13th. So, child, today is just the 16th. So it's going to give you about a month, a little over a month in damn jail, a little bit. Woo, child. So Chris, I hate that because his tour going to be kind of messed up because he is currently on tour and his tour has been doing really well. So that's going to mess him up a little bit with contracts and all this other stuff. People who pay tickets prior to the show beginning where he's going to be playing in their city. Of course, they'll get refunds because of that, hopefully. But yeah, so he's locked up until June 13th. Okay, guys. So he's facing charges of intentional grievous bodily harm for alleged bottle attack. And he was set to appear in court today, at which you guys know the outcome, as I just told you, June 13th, he will be released. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. Did I share that? Why do I feel like I didn't share? All right. Let's get it up. Before we move on. So y'all can see it with me. All right. Y'all see Chris, honey. Chris, like I said, he was reportedly arrested in Manchester, in London for a nightclub brawl where he attacked someone, and they're telling him he can't get out until June 13th. Y'all see that? Here's all the updates on that. All right, see, Chris Brown will remain in police custody following UK arrest until June 13th. As I said, he is in the middle of a tour, but he is not set to get out until then. All right, so shout out to Chris. I hope he figure all this mess out. Lord, I hate this. All right, so let's get into some Simon and Porsha news right quick. Let's get into it, honey. Let's share so y'all can see with me. Hey, everybody joining. All right, so Simon Guobadia is reportedly still in ICE custody, you guys. He will potentially be taken to divorce court by the feds if deportation issue isn't handled by his and Porsha's court date. Y'all hear this? So it's contingent upon him and Porsha figuring out this divorce situation. Okay, court date. All right, so let's read into what they're saying. Shout out to the Neighborhood Talk. According to In Touch Weekly, it says that Porsha's estranged husband, Simon Gubati, is reportedly still in ICE custody and is still waiting to learn his fate of being deported back to his home country or not. It says that because of his detainment, Simon may have to let the feds escort him to divorce court to handle his matters with Porsha. It goes on to say that a judge recently set a date for a hearing involving Porsha's plea for her and Simon's prenuptial agreement to finally be enforced following her filings for divorce. Now, it says that the hearing was originally supposed to be held on April the 30th, but Simon's lawyers requested it to be pushed back due to him being under ICE detainment. It says that his lawyers urged the courts to allow a few weeks' time so that they can handle deportation matters first, then focus on divorce proceedings. So upon him getting divorced from Porsha, they're getting his ass out of here because he's already overstayed his visa. And he's done this many, many times. So they're not playing with him this time. ICE is keeping a close eye on Simon. And once this divorce situation between he and Porsha is finished, then they're going to be deporting him from the U.S. back to Africa or wherever the hell he came from. All right. Okay, so it said that the judge ultimately agreed to their request. So their next court date is June 11th, all right? Right ahead of Chris Brown. So it said that the judge also ordered Simon's lawyers to draft a proposed protection order that would allow ICE agents to physically bring Simon to divorce hearings if he is still in their custody at the time of the court date. It goes on to say that if Simon is out of their custody but not able to make it to the hearing due to him possibly being deported, Simon is required to tell the court in advance so that he can attend the hearing remotely. Okay. So either way, his ass got to be there, whether you physically there or by way of remote. It says that a source close to Simon told In Touch magazine that Simon thought that he would be released from the ICE detention center a few weeks ago, but he unfortunately still remains in their custody. Now, y'all know that Simon has broken several laws and rules as related to his stay here in the U.S. Every time that it was time for him to come on his visa and be here and then leave, he never left. So I feel like he kept marrying like different women here. Like he got Porsha. A lot of people saying he married Porsha for means of trying to become a citizen or to be able to overstay his welcome here in the U.S. He did the same thing when he was married to Fallon. Okay. He's been doing a lot. So ever since Simon has brought his ass to the U.S., he's been breaking code and breaking the laws in terms of overstaying his visa. So now ICE is not playing with him. They're on his ass and he's still in their custody. All right, so it goes on to say that ICE is not playing with Simon Child, like I just said, says that he's been in their custody since February. Y'all remember, they picked his ass up and everybody was like, what the hell? They thought Porsha had something to do with it, but no, ICE been watching him and his ass was on social media doing Team Too Much. So they didn't have to look far. They knew where you were and they found you and your ass is still in their custody. So that is what is going on in the update with Simon and Porsha, okay? All right. So let's get into Tommy, honey. Tommy from Love and Hip Hop. She tried to do a good deed, okay? Y'all know Tommy, she stayed fighting and carrying on, but she decided to do a good deed. She helped some old women out, child. Shout out to Clock T. She was helping some old women with a ride. It says that Tommy Lee helped a couple older ladies out who needed a ride after her therapy session, okay? So she went to therapy. Thank God she's in therapy because she needs it. But she tried to do a good deed, y'all. Why she wore this to her therapy appointment, I don't know. But let's get into it. She got body out of this world, too. Go, Tommy.
Right, I'll take you. And you can I'll give you a ride, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I have my sister. Tell her, come on. This is my therapy, y'all. This is my therapy. This car is anyway. I started a little black truck business I ain't tell y'all about yet, but this is what it is. And I got the drivers and I have bulletproof ones. But I find myself riding this motherfucker every day. And people be needing rides. Hell, we at the therapy center. They can't even walk. Let's go. Pal them in. I'm starting my black truck service now. Hit me up. I got the boys. They drive. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that. I'll be. You're sweet. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Very easy and short for me.
The eyes. Thank you. Beautiful. Got a lot of pain in them. Gee, shit. Throw this out. I don't want us to get pulled up for drinking and stuff. I be having a hard time, It make me cry. It's okay. She quiet. It's okay. Trust me. You good. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Girl, she's like, yeah. I got these trucks now. Y'all don't call Uber no more. This my business. My person. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you go to.
Yeah, I got Black Truck Service. They can come pick y'all up.
Uber.
Yeah.
Uber.
Yeah. No, Black Truck Service.
Y'all know old people gonna write a check if they don't do
better than Uber. Come through. You gonna have.
Y'all know old people gonna write a check if they don't do nothing else. They don't trust this new modern technology, that Cash App and Zelle and shit. They gonna whip out that checkbook in a minute, won't they? Mama back there writing a check to Tommy. I don't remember last time I wrote a check.
Have security, everything, license, shooter, pop, everything. Lay a nigga down. Yes. All that.
Need to doing everything.
Protect you and your sister.
If I jump.
Yes, so shout out to Tommy for starting her own business. Shout out to Tommy for starting her own black truck business when she's running around doing her little Uber business. That's a good idea because a lot of people be needing rides, especially like to the airport or just anywhere. Okay, that's a great business. If anybody's trying to start a business, a cleaning business is great, where you can go and clean like upscale homes. They pay very, very well for those of you that want to do that or start a business doing that. Yeah, start your car service, honey. Picking up people. They ain't gotta be waiting on Uber when you can go and swoop them up and take them where they need to go and set your own price and everything. Okay, all you need is a little navigation system so you know where you're going once they give you the address. But hey, that's a business that you can definitely get into and make a coin if you're looking for some extra money, because she did it. All right, and go on to get you that EIN number so you can file that shit on your taxes as your business and get you a little tax break out here. All right, see how you just learn something. Moving on, child, because I'm all about starting a new business. I like money, so I'm gonna always figure out a way to make more. But that's a great business. Shout out to Tommy for that, and I'm glad she is going to therapy because, baby, y'all know she needs some therapy. All right, so we got that. All right, so let's get into some Cassie and Diddy news. All right, let's get into some Cassie and Diddy news because I want to watch this CNN, a little bit of this CNN thing that I pulled. All right, so let's get into what they're saying. Shout out to the Shade Room. So prosecutors cite risk of mistrial over defense delays in Cassie's testimony. Y'all know that Cassie's 8.5 months pregnant. And she's having to, like, they're saying that she's been asking for a lot of breaks during this trial because she has to go to the bathroom. She's, her baby's sitting on her bladder, so she's been asking for breaks in between. And the judge and the defense, they're trying to get through this damn trial because they've already said, hey, we're going 8 days, 9 days, maybe 10 is what we're looking at for this case so we can find Diddy guilty or not guilty. So they said that they also raised the risk of a mistrial if Cassie is required to return Monday, but instead goes into labor with her third child over the weekend. So they said she could go into labor anytime. Now, this stress could push her into labor. Okay, the stress from this trial could push her into labor. She's 8.5 months pregnant, like I said, with all of this stuff bothering her that she's having to go back and relive this abuse stuff with Diddy and testifying and just even seeing him could trigger her going into labor because that stress, the baby feels whatever she feels. So if they don't hurry up and get what they need out of her, they may not get it. Because, hell, if she's on maternity leave after she has this baby, she's home. So whatever they need to get from her in terms of to help out in terms of testimony for this trial, if they don't go ahead and get it while she's able, honey, they're going to be shit out of luck. So it says that prosecutors are pushing to end Cassie's cross-examination in the Diddy trial by Friday, which is today, accusing the defense of using delaying tactics to gain an advantage. It says that they claim the defense is stalling to force Cassie back on the stand Monday, which could risk a mistrial if she goes into labor over the weekend with her third child. So the defense is playing games. Y'all see that? The defense seems to be playing games with this case. Now, it says that prosecutors said that it seems defense lawyers were intent on forcing Cassie to return to the witness stand on Monday so that Combs could review transcripts over the weekend and help them prepare additional questions for her. It goes on to say that they also raised the risk of a mistrial if Cassie is required to return Monday, but instead goes into labor with her third child over the weekend, as we just read. All right. Prosecutor wants judge to force Cassie's cross-examination to end this Friday, well, today. All right, so it says that their complaint includes, said the defense will have had multiple more hours to question Cassie than the government took in its direct examination. It says that the defense lawyer asked questions stemming from civil lawsuits against Combs rather than the criminal case. It says that the example by asking if illegal substances were in the baby oil used during their freak-offs sex parties, and I read that it was a GHB, I think it was, that they say were that was in the baby oil. I heard it was GHB that was in the baby oil, which helped them whenever they put the oil on them in terms of also what they would take by mouth. It kind of helped them get to where they needed to as far as feeling the drugs quickly so that they could get into the freak off and not feel any pain and be already geeked up by the time the freak off kicked off. Okay. Considerable time was lost making Cassie read lengthy text messages chains out loud, even though they contain sexually explicit content or expressions of love. So they feel like they wasted a lot of time on those text messages from yesterday. That's what we read. The defense effectively sandbagged prosecutors by turning over 400 exhibits at the last minute that might be used during cross-examination, therefore losing time on discussions about the evidence. So if I didn't know any better, I think that Diddy's team is trying to intentionally stall the court so that they can have a full mistrial. That's what it's giving. And I really hope that the judge is smarter than this to allow Diddy to get off by way of mistrial from all of this is going on, because he is facing some very serious charges that he does need to get charged for, because Diddy's been getting off for quite some time. For years, since the 90s, he's been doing shit. So finally, he is being held accountable in court, in jail, and they really need to find something to hold him accountable. And we definitely don't need a mistrial, because all the women that suffered being R-worded and all these sexually assaults that have come up since then, my God, what was done to Cassie and so many other people by the hands of Diddy, he definitely needs to pay for that. So fuck a mistrial. We're not looking for that. But while we're talking about this, I went ahead and pulled the most recent CNN video. We're going to go ahead and look at that and see what they have going on with this case thus far. All right, so we're going to look at a little bit of this, and give me a second. Let me share. We don't need no damn mistrial. Fuck that. Nuh-uh. We done came this far. Diddy's trying to worm his way out of this shit like he did that Shine case. Y'all remember the Shine Pow Powing case with Jennifer Lopez? He's trying to pull that same shit right here. That's what he's trying to do, because he does not want to be here. He knows he's in a lot of trouble, so he's pulling for anything he can, and they're looking to at least get a mistrial, because I don't think they know that. I think they know that they can't beat the charges, so now they're trying to get out of it by way of a mistrial, and we ain't for that shit. So let's get into this CNN News Channel 18 information about this damn Diddy trial. Let's go.
But if they proverbially beat her up, they will look no better than their client, and that will go really side.
Hold on. Everyone, stand by, because we have a lot more to unpack. This, I can't give this short a stretch. I may have to fast forward to 2025 when Why Did She Stay is not the tip of the moment for all of them. We'll talk more about it. Much more to get to tonight. The criminal case mirroring a lot of the allegations we've seen in civil lawsuits against Diddy. So could they offer a roadmap of what we might see in court next? My next guest knows all about it. Famed attorney Gloria Allred, who reps two of Diddy's accusers, is standing by. Plus, more on that shock moment in court that had some jurors reacting. What was Diddy like when it happened? Our sketch artist will tell you. And later, the legal panel is answering your questions about this case. Send them over to me. Send them over to X. Send them over to Instagram at the Laura Coates.
How do you think she did? Powerful testimony today. What was the most powerful part of it? Just the whole thing was powerful, and she told her truth. I wouldn't want to be having to do that cross-examination. That's for sure.
Cassie Ventura's attorney appearing confident after a second day of explosive testimony as the defense prepares to launch their cross-examination tomorrow. With me now, victim rights attorney, the famed Gloria Allred, who represents 2 of the more than 60, yes, 60 alleged victims who have filed civil lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs, accusing him of sexual assault or other wrongdoing, allegations that Diddy denies. Gloria, I'm so glad you're here. I saw you in the courtroom. You were watching intently as everything unfolded, and I could not help but wonder how you assessed Cassie's testimony.
Well, Laura, I thought she was very compelling. She came across as very authentic. She had an excellent memory of the details of what happened. I thought she came across as very credible because, you know, she didn't try to hide any flaws or, you know, she was taking responsibility for what happened. In sometimes I think too much responsibility for what happened because the wrongdoer is the one who's accused in the indictment. So I thought she did very well. I mean, after all, she is a little more than 8 months pregnant. That's a very stressful situation for anyone. And she had talked about how it was very embarrassing and humiliating when it happened to her, when she was victimized. And but she told her truth, as her attorney said.
You know, Gloria, we were just talking before you and I had a chance to speak just now with our panel. And one of the things that the attorneys thought was the jurors are going to be asking, well, why'd she stay? It's different if it's year 1 or 2 versus year 10 or 11. Now, we've heard this question more frequently, probably decades ago, but there's a span of jurors on this actual jury panel. How do you think that factors in? Will people question that?
Well, of course, I think it's a fair question on the part of the jury and in the court of public opinion, the viewers of your show. But I also wish they would ask, why did he do it? But having said that, she said she was in love with him. She testified to that in the beginning. But then as she testified, it became a job. And she did try to leave on a number of occasions. And sometimes she didn't want to talk to him. But his associates, and this is where the conspiracy to commit racketeering comes in, would,
track her down.
Not only check her out, but I mean, they, you know, according to the testimony and according to the indictment, actually participated in like bringing people in, travel agents, providing cash occasionally, bringing baby oil, bringing Astroglide to the freak-offs, going to her, talking to her sometime when she didn't want to talk to Mr. Combs, and suggesting that she should talk to Mr. Combs. In other words, they were in many ways facilitating. This is what is alleged in the indictment. This in order to keep their boss happy, but in order to help him to sexually abuse, to exploit his goals with her. And that's what happened according to the indictment.
Yeah, and we're in almost day 3 really fully of this trial, and that racketeering charge carries a possible life sentence if convicted of it. But the defense in their opening statement, and you heard it firsthand, they used the phrase money grab. Today, the testimony and the direct ended with her confirming a settlement with Sean Diddy Combs to the tune of $20 million. The jurors are going to reflect on probably that tonight, along with those graphic photographs and everything else that she has said. The impact of the civil lawsuits and this allegation of this all being a money grab, how do you see it?
Well, that's a typical defense line. And that's going to be their spin. That is going to be their characterization of the settlement. But I think that all people who are victims, who perceive that they were wronged, have the right to seek compensation in a civil lawsuit. By the way, she's already received that, or there was a settlement. And also, victims should also understand that despite that, they have the right to report to law enforcement. They have a right to cooperate with law enforcement. And it's my understanding that they would not be subpoenaed to testify if they didn't want to testify. If they were not willing to testify, they wouldn't be compelled to do so.
An NDA, if it's existing as a part of the settlement, that would not override a criminal subpoena, though.
Absolutely not. But also, even if there were no subpoena, Laura, a person who believes she was a victim has a right, despite any settlement, whether it's a confidential settlement or not, to testify if there is a prosecution. As a matter of fact, they could also testify if they were subpoenaed to testify in someone else's civil lawsuit. So even if there's a confidential settlement, they can do that. And some want to and some don't. They want to have their privacy, some of them. They don't want to testify publicly. And she's very, very brave to do so, but nobody is required to do so if they are a victim.
A really important point, and she explained she couldn't carry the weight of this any longer.
Yes.
A lot more ahead. Gloria Allred, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Laura.
Still ahead tonight, it's kinky, not criminal. It's domestic abuse, not sex trafficking. The defense looking to make those points. But my next guest, well, he says it actually may not matter at all to the men and women in the jury box. One of the top jury consultants in New York City is here to explain exactly why. Plus, behind the sketches of day 3, what the courtroom artists witnessed today as the emotional and at times shocking testimony was revealed. Another tense and emotional day inside of.
All right, guys, we can everyone please hit the like button. We are going over. We're looking at the CNN portion of this trial information for the Diddy trial, where there have been testimonies and updates and everything. So we're talking about where this case is actually going and where they are right now with all the testimonies thus far. Okay, so if you guys can please go ahead and tap that like button for us so that we can get this out there, because we're going to watch this so that we can see what's going on. Shout out to CNN.
Here in Lower Manhattan, where for the first time, today was an emotional day. Today was a day where the jurors actually saw these graphic images that really had been the nightmare of Cassie Ventura, as she has said, that threat of those being exposed. What were you seeing the moment that the jurors were able to see those graphic images?
They looked very distressed. The jurors looked distressed. Mr. Combs seemed to be interested in looking at maybe the first couple. After that, he didn't even bother. You know, we knew what was being shown, but we weren't allowed to see it either. It was a sort of a culmination of her just a real graphic. Demonstration of what exactly it was.
They were trying to corroborate, of course, these so-called freak-offs. When you were watching Cassie Ventura on the stand, day 2, was her demeanor different than it was the first day when she was in the same room with Sean Diddy Combs?
I think that I've just been watching her wilt a little bit, that this has been really hard for her. And today she was starting to get kind of mushy, as you saw. She wept a couple times.
She described a suicide attempt, an opioid addiction.
She said she didn't want to live anymore.
What was she doing in that moment? Give us the front row view.
When she was explaining that she was telling her then husband, and I think they already had 2 kids, that you don't need me. You got this. You can take care of this. And she desperately needed therapy and rehab.
What was her body doing when she described that? You said that she was wilting of sorts.
Both her hands went up to her face. She crumpled a bit. This was terrible, hard stuff.
What was Diddy doing?
Oh God, that man! If you could figure out what he's thinking and feeling, because he just is looking like this, but he's
at her or just
at her. But you don't see him, no expressions of.
That's that devil in his ass.
Any kind of compassion.
Even when she was crying, he didn't seem to react.
No.
How about when he looked at those graphic still images contained in the binder that only the jurors and the parties could see?
I think that, his strategy is going to just say that her entire approach is BS, essentially. That he doesn't buy it in the slightest that he caused this woman anguish. I mean, that's really what was getting her emotional today. She said, I wanted him to see how much he hurt me.
She described writing a book and sending over several chapters to him, only to find that they had not been taken seriously, was the phrase. And she really said she wanted to just let him know how she felt. And that's when she seemed to sob.
Right. That was it. That was a breakdown moment.
How did the jurors react, though, to the next set of questions about that $20 million settlement?
You know, I wasn't looking at them.
How did Diddy respond?
You know, I'm sure just he thinks that's an ace up his sleeve.
Did his body language tell you anything?
No. I got to sit right in front of his mother today.
What was that like?
She complimented my drawing of Diddy.
Oh, did she?
I asked for her permission to draw her, and she, of course, wanted to be drawn. So it's really hard to draw somebody who's sitting behind you. Something gets messed up in the, in the balance of things. You have to be really, really mindful.
What was she like when you spoke to her in the courtroom, Diddy's mother? What emotion were you reading on her face?
You know, she loves her son. I was really happy she liked the drawing I did of him, because that's scary territory. A mother can tell you, you've messed up. So I was really glad I was in the right turf. I didn't think I was going to do her justice. I swear that woman gets younger every year.
Right place, right time, right sketch artist. Christine Cornell, always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, dear.
Join me now to dissect some of the behavior we saw from jurors today. Jury consultant Josh Dubin. Josh, everyone knows that this case is going to come down to what these jurors think. Not you and me, not the court of public opinion, but how these specific jurors are receiving it. And I wonder what you make first of that composition, of the dynamic of the male and female jurors who are sitting today.
You know, in my experience, both as a jury, an alleged jury expert, and a criminal defense attorney, in cases involving allegations of sexual misconduct, sex abuse, women can be the toughest jurors on alleged victims. Oftentimes they, I've seen it where this dynamic where they say, how could they have put themselves in that situation? How could they have put themselves in that position? So I think that, I've heard some, folks opining, whether they've been jury consultants, criminal defense attorneys, former prosecutors, about whether women are better or worse for the defense. It depends on the woman. It depends on their life experiences. It depends if they, used to party and they felt like, there's some accountability that goes along with that. So I don't put too much stock into whether or not females are better or worse for the defense. One of the women is a massage therapist. She may find, the line between consensual touch and something that is more objectionable. Her view on that may be different than, the other female jurors that are in different industries.
Is the same for men on the jury? I mean, obviously, these are all generalizations. And I know trying to predict how a juror or juries will find can be a fool's errand at times. But are there certain strategies that defense counsel will want to employ in a case that involves such graphic nature, such discussions about explicit sex?
Yeah, I think that there's a scientist on the jury, for instance. Let's use that juror as an example. If there's ever any hope, I heard some of the other panelists earlier talking about separating conduct that is morally objectively morally reprehensible, ethically reprehensible, and saying, put that in this box. And then let's look at this box, which is the alleged criminal conduct, and that box is empty. If people thought that efficiently, the conviction rate in the Southern District of New York would not be upwards of 98%. Unfortunately, for criminal defense attorneys, they're fighting they're looking at a steep uphill climb in the first place. There's no presumption of innocence. We kid ourselves about that. There's an assumption of guilt in all of these federal cases.
But the compartmentalization aspect of it, and certainly I hope that there is a presumption of innocence, but that compartmentalization, you're saying the jurors can't separate. If they think the person's done something wrong, then they've done everything wrong?
No, what I'm saying is that if you take the scientist, if you take the investment analyst, they're much more likely to be able to separate out because they're analytical thinkers that have to do that every day. But people that are a former social worker a massage therapist, the way their brains work is not going to be sort of accustomed to saying, out of this entire mosaic, let me somehow tease out what fits in the RICO statute. Those jury instructions are mindlessly confusing in a RICO case, and they're going to look at the whole mosaic.
So wait, how do you win them over then?
You win them over by being able to deconstruct the elements of the crime and taking the testimony on direct. This is not something that I'm adopting, but one of the things that I would do if I was the defense is say, by her own admission, she's saying that she took the drugs. There was never an allegation that he said, you must take these drugs, that, you know, she was helping vet some of these male escorts and calling them. Yes, he was giving her the money according to her. And, you know, you start to try to blur the line between, was this consensual? Abusive, yes. Domestic violence, yes. But was she consenting to being a part of this? Was he taking advantage of it? Yes. But is that criminal? And you start to try to say, well, let's take the law and say, does it fit these facts? And when you apply the facts to the specific elements of these crimes, you know, there's a disconnect.
But it can also be looked at as prostitution. It can be looked at as that, because if she's being made to do something out of fear that she doesn't want to do, and and it has something to do with sexual nature, it could also be seen as prostitution, and she's being made to do it by force. We've already seen the abuse and everything that came along with that. She talked about the black eyes, him jumping on her, making her do things, making her do FOs. That's forced into prostitution, and that's exactly what it was. And hopefully the defense can and the prosecution can also see that as well, and they can make a educated decision on this in terms of finding him guilty on that, if nothing else. I mean, I already know they're gonna find him on the trafficking in the RICO, and we're gonna get to that though. But
I don't know that they're going to be able to win over any jurors that even the...
Look, you've got tons of questions about the case. So tonight it's time for America Asks, Diddy on Trial edition. My legal experts are back with me. Let's get to it so you all can answer a little bit as well. First question, starting with the question about Ventura's testimony. Jeremy, I'll ask you this one. This viewer wants to know, how much can Cassie talk and whether the settlement came with an NDA?
She can talk about everything and anything in that courtroom, not necessarily outside that courtroom, because she's doing so under subpoena. So she's complying with the lawful order. So she has that ability and right to do so. Can't be discussing it outside just because she wants to, but in that courtroom, wide scope.
And you give subpoenas to even cooperative witnesses too sometimes,
Absolutely.
Right? Joey, let me ask you this question. Another viewer asks this question: where did the sex trafficking and RICO, also known as racketeering, charges come from?
So sex trafficking deals with the force and the fraud and the coercion involved in having sex, right? Which is distinguishable from regular prostitution where everyone's consenting, right? So that's what sex trafficking is. As it relates to RICO, defense attorneys always believe that it's an overcharge, right? What they're essentially saying, they being prosecutors, are that you ran this business organization not to produce records, not to enhance your brand, but for the purpose of sexually exploiting, degrading, and otherwise getting whatever you were doing by virtue of having these freak-offs, et cetera. And so the RICO allows them to bring in all these other acts and all the other beatings and all the other instances of his misconduct and criminality alleged.
All right, let's go to another question from a viewer. Mimi, I'll ask you this one. This viewer wants to know, are there others in Diddy's circle that are charged with racketeering? And how can a conspiracy involve only one person?
So a conspiracy cannot only involve one person, but the other conspirators do not have to be charged. You can have unnamed co-conspirators, or you can have named ones who don't actually get charged with a crime because the prosecution in its discretion decides that they're going to give them a non-prosecution agreement or a cooperation agreement, or deferred some kind of agreement probably, because they need some kind of immunity. So I would expect that we're going to see some of the other witnesses who testify, people who were involved in the enterprise, the racketeering acts, meaning people who, got Cassie when she needed to be pulled back, trying to get away, or people who procured the baby oil or the drugs, or got money to pay the prostitutes, the people involved in the freak-offs. all of those people are, I think, under this indictment, these charges could be considered co-conspirators. They're just not charged with the crimes, but I bet we'll see some kind of agreement with them.
Interesting. Jeremy, here's one more for you. Someone else asks, how are they, meaning the prosecutors, how are you going to connect the dots and connect Combs to the charges? That's the $1 million question.
Yeah, certainly. And a lot of it's going to fall on Cassie's shoulders, but I think you're going to hear a lot more. It's not just a person, and you don't want to just rely on a person, especially someone with the prosecution or pardon me, the defense is going to try to repeatedly poke holes in. So what are you going to see? You've got text messages. You have this whole list of book of prostitutes, these male and prostitutes that are allegedly involved. You're going to see transactions showing that they were flowing in to wherever the location was from a different state. You're building this pyramid of evidence, and it's building brick by brick. You're going to get up to Sean Combs, allegedly, and this alleged conspiracy and this alleged enterprise that exists. But it's not going to just be on Cassie's shoulders. She may be the most exciting one. I hate to use that term. I don't mean that in a negative way, but salacious one. But there's going to be a lot more.
The lawyer drinking game, every time you heard the word allegedly.
Oh, you got to say allegedly.
There you go.
All right, so we're going to stop it there. If you guys want to watch a little bit more on this and get some more information on that, I just wanted to kind of show you the beginning part of what they're saying and where this trial is going, and for them to kind of break it down in terms of the charges that they do have for Diddy and that they're looking at charging him with, and if they're going to be able to make it stick. So it sounds like they have a pretty good case against him. And as I said before, the defense is trying to get off on by way of a mistrial. And I'm hoping that they don't do that. And they're trying to push Cassie into having to testify up until Monday. And that's contingent upon if she goes into early labor or not. If that's the case, and she can't give them the rest of the information that they need, as you guys just heard them say, Diddy's team, they're trying to come up with more questions for Cassie with the hope that they can push this testimony into her coming back on Monday, when they wanted her to be done testifying today because of her condition. She is 8.5 months pregnant. She is under a lot of stress, and that's what they're trying to do. So hopefully the judge does not allow that, and that they can, say this is all the questioning that we need from her. And hopefully if they do need her back on Monday, then she can get through that and transition on into her giving birth when she needs to. Okay. But that's what's going on with that. Let's get into this last piece, Married to Medicine news, then we'll let you guys go. All right, but y'all can pull up CNN on YouTube and y'all can finish watching that video if you want to know more about that. All right, so as you guys know, Married to Medicine has already started filming. Okay, you guys know that Quad from Married to Medicine just celebrated a birthday, and as I told you guys before, the women from Married to Medicine were saying that Quad does not typically invite them to things outside of. But if the cameras were there, then she would. So as you guys know, they're filming. I feel like this may be filmed for the show because some of the Married to Medicine girls actually were there. And I'm hearing that they were saying that Quad is being very fake because she would not have invited them to her birthday party had the cameras not been there. So I'm hearing that this could have been filmed or it could be shown on the next season of Married to Medicine. I'm going to show you guys the pictures that I've gotten for you guys. But let's first see what Dr. Heavenly had to say because she was there as well. All right, so Heavenly says that this baby was so happy, says that at Absolutely Quad, which is Quad, says that I am so grateful that you have everything that you've always wanted, says that you said that may you have many more birthdays. Love looks good on you at King, because King was there. Her boyfriend King was there. Hashtag Dr. Heavenly, hashtag Married to Medicine, hashtag Team Daddy. So word on the street is that the cameras were there for Quad's birthday and that it was filmed and that it may be shown on the next upcoming season. And the only reason why the girls were there at Quad's birthday party is because the cameras were there. Quad don't fool with them off camera. She usually hang with Yandy and the other girls from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. She doesn't hang with the women from Married to Medicine. So it was weird to see that they were there. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some of the pictures from her party, because I do have them. All right, so here's one. That's Dr. Jackie on the end. That's the new girl on the show, Married to Medicine. That's Quad. That's Toya, and that's Heavenly, okay? So, yeah, the girls were there. Now, the only person that did not show was Simone, and Simone is not fooling with Quad right now because y'all know they almost got into a physical fight at the reunion, okay, if y'all didn't see the reunion. Quad and Simone almost got into a physical altercation at the reunion where they ran up in each other's face and Dr. Jackie had to pull Simone back. So Simone decided not to attend the party. And she was like, fuck that camera time. I don't care. All right, let's continue, child, because there's more pictures. Let's get into some more. I'm trying to get y'all so y'all can see all the ones that I pulled for you. All right. Okay, so that's Quad and I want to say that's what's the girl's name? I can't remember her name. I want to say that's the girl that had the baby by Neo. I can't remember her name. Magneta? I think that's Magneta. Okay. All right, so let me pull some more pictures. I think that's Magneta Shaw. Oh no, let's get this one. All right, that's her cake. That's her personalized cake that they brought to her. I got a screenshot of that because that was okay. Let's get on through the next picture. I'm trying to get them all up here. Here's Sheree is there. Y'all see Sheree? She has some work done on her face, but that's her. That's Sheree Whitfield from Real Housewives of Atlanta. She showed up to Quad's birthday party. Y'all see Sheree has some face stuff done. She don't even look the same. But that's Sheree. Y'all see Ray Ray on the screen? That's Ray Ray, honey. That's Sheree Ray. She done had all that damn work on her face. All right, so this is Quad and King. All right. That's Quad and King, honey. That's actually a nice, I'm not even a fan of Quad, but that's actually a nice picture of Quad and King right there. So I guess y'all. All right. So let's get the other. Okay. All right. So that's Heavenly, Quad, and Toya. All right. But yeah, so the Married to Medicine girls were there because the cameras were there, but Simone was not there. Okay. Simone opted to not show up. So she gave up her little filming time because she didn't want to be anywhere near Quad. I don't blame her. I ain't gonna be fake either. I wouldn't be faking showing up. But yes, honey, Sheree was serving body, won't she? Let's go back. Sheree gonna always serve body because y'all know she works out a lot. So Sheree, say what you want to say about Sheree. She broke and all that, but Sheree, she be serving with body, honey. Sheree gonna always give you body. Do you hear me? Her body is no homo. She gonna give body, honey. If she don't give nothing else, she ain't got no fucking money, but she got body. All right. So shout out to the girls. That's the girls, child. All right. That's the girls. All right. That's her cake. That's Quad and Sheree. That's King and Quad. Okay, that's Heavenly, Quad, and Toya. And then let me get that last one up there for y'all. Oh, no. Hold on. Which one I ain't put up? Oh, yes, put all these up. All right, and that's all of them. Jackie, the new girl. I don't know why I can't remember her name. Quad, Toya, and Heavenly. All right. So the girls were there, everyone except Simone. All right. So there you go. And the only reason they were there, as I told you guys, is because the Married to Medicine cameras were there because they are filming already for the next season. Okay. And I told you guys, I heard through the grapevine that Mariah may be making a few appearances as well on the new season. We'll see what it's given. And you guys also know that Funky.Neva, blogger Funky.Neva, will also be making some appearances on Married to Medicine this season too, okay? Because he does hang with the Married to Medicine girls. All right, he does. He's very good friends with Dr. Heavenly, and he also hangs out a lot with Quad. So we'll be seeing Funky popping up in the new season of Married to Medicine, all right, as well as Mariah. So, but that's it, guys. That's it. Again, if you want to watch more on the Diddy trial, head on over to CNN on YouTube, and y'all can finish watching that. But that's all I have for you guys on this. We had an update for Chris Brown. He will not be getting out until his next court date, which is June 13th. Coming up, Porsha and Simon, their divorce. Simon getting out on ice is contingent upon he and Porsha's divorce. As I told you guys, is coming up. They have an appearance on June the 11th. Okay, as I told you guys, of course, the Diddy case update. They're still trying to figure out what they're going to do. If Cassie's going to testify into Monday, they're trying to get a mistrial for that, which I don't think that's going to happen. And then, of course, Quad, Married to Medicine, Quad's birthday, and the pictures that we just went through because they're filming and the girls did show up. All right, but that's all we have. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Bill Wilson, KBR Tyra, Scorpion Miss. Thank you, Rose Armstead, and Truth TV Podcast for modding, okay? And thank you to all the content creators that joined this live as well. What y'all saying? Y'all said, hope Funky.Neva calls out Heavenly and Damon to start some child. We'll see. Sunny Day says that if Mariah comes back, I'll start watching. I love Mariah. I like Mariah. I follow her. So yeah, we'll see what it gives. Says no money, but a body. Shade care about. Y'all know I'm gonna throw a little shade in there. Y'all know she ain't got no damn money. Okay, she ain't got no damn money. She don't like to pay people. Lies More Lies says yes, someone did a good job on her body. Says I think she keeps up in it. She does go to the gym, but she did have some recent tweaks. And then she had it at this place, this plastic surgery place in Atlanta that I saw, you guys, because I think I covered it on my show, where that place was being sued for some type of malpractice, and they the doctor that actually do the nip tucks there was sued because they were saying something about some people had some bad experiences there at said place where Sheree was going, because they charge very little. They, like, you can go there and get some nips and tucks there done at a very cheap price. So that's what Sheree was going and getting stuff done to her face, her nose, and some other things, maybe some liposuction. I'm not sure, but Sheree does work out. She does work out. All right. Lies More Lies says, let's see how long it's going to be before Toya has a problem. Quiet. You already know. It's all fake ass. Says Kawhi be really entertaining and act. Y'all saying Sheree body. Sheree got a nice body. She do. All right. For her to be what is she, in her 50s, late 50s? She keeping her body up, so that's great. Y'all was talking about Sheree body again. Let me get off that, child. No homo. All right. Yeah, she got a nice body. I'm done with that. Now let me stop. So the women were there for the check too. Yeah, for the check. But Simone was like, bitch, I'm a doctor. I ain't about to go over there and be fake for no damn check. Like, forget that. So she gave up her check in terms of not being fake with Quad. All right. They said, we don't care about Quad. I know that's right. Heavenly and Quad fake to me. Y'all, yeah. I'm not fans of Heavenly or Quad. I ain't gonna hold you. Heavenly and Quad, I really don't like the two of them. I don't really care for them. All right. Somebody said, I think you're right, Rail. I try to be as right as I can be. Said if she don't pay, that she should never be broke. Child, know what she doing with money. She's spending all her money on plastic surgery. She done had about 47 nose jobs. Lies More Lies says, damn, says that I was about to look them up. Never mind. All right, y'all laughing, but let's get out of here. Thank you guys. All right, please don't forget to tap that like button so you guys can push this video into the algorithm. Of course, I'll be back again because today, child, news is jumping. I'm still waiting to hear testimony and see testimony on the transcript for Don Richard, as well as the other girl, Aubrey O'Day, from their testimonies today in the Diddy trial. Okay, once we get those, and of course, if there's any more breaking news or anything like that, y'all know I'll be back. So I'll be tapping in with you guys today. It's gonna be a busy day for me, trying to get some work done, as well as coming back and giving y'all the news I know y'all can use so that y'all can know what's going on. Okay, because where else you gonna find out besides over here now? But thank y'all. All right, let's get out of here. Love you guys down. Until the next one, let's go.
When you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.